This is the Amp Hour Podcast. Released February 18th, 2018. Episode 380. Just terrestrial and space things.
Welcome to the Amp Hour. I'm Dave Jones from the EEV blog.
And I'm Chris Gamble of Contextual Electronics.
What's up, nerd?
Hey, buddy. Just being you, huh? No guests, no nothing. Nothing but the future. And we're building the future right here.
No.
Dun, 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 dun.
No.
I don't
Sorry,
know.
crickets.
We need like yeah. Well, let's start at the top with giving some shit away. How about that?
Oh, yeah. Let's give some shit away. Why not?
So, Keysight /Agilent/HP is doing their Scope month again, and
well, it's not called Scope Month.
Oh, sorry, that's right. They changed the name.
Yeah, because
formerly known as
just
Scope
long.
Month.
Yeah,
right.
It was
Yes.
I don't know. It's called something. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Anyway, they're giving stuff away again.
Yes. Our buddy Daniel over there, who also does they have a podcast as well. But Daniel said, we can give away another 1000X, so that's great. And
how are we going to do it?
We are going to bring back the Amp Hour listener survey. So, yeah, you can go and it's basically, we just want to know demographics about who's listening, what you guys do, what else we should know, how we're doing, all that stuff. So, fill it out to the best of your ability. We'll put if you don't want to enter, you could still do the survey.
But leave out your email address.
Yeah, we won't require that, and we'll have a field for if you want to be entered. If not, we'd still love to hear from you, honestly. Like, we always appreciate hearing that, and it's really nice to...
Can be completely anonymous.
Right, exactly. So,
and we do like reading the comments.
We do, and, positive and negative, so that's great. So we'll be doing that, and we'll give it away in a couple weeks. So we'll announce that as well.
Cool.
All right, that was easy.
Done. What are they giving us?
1000X. So.
It's just the one.
Yeah, just the one. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, man, it's still a scope.
Anyway,
I don't
it's
know.
still a nice scope.
Yeah. I think we've done a couple in the past. So.
Yep.
And there people that are doing it.
I don't think they're actually giving scopes. Well, they are giving scopes away this time, but from what they've told me is that there's these big bundles.
Yeah,
now.
right.
So there's less stuff being given away. Like before it was like a scope a day.
Scope a day. Yep.
So there were
there was a scope. There was a 1000X per day, and then it was like one or two big ones
one or two bigger ones. But now I don't know if they're doing the one a day thing. I think it's just like these big bundles, and wow. Yeah. They're and one of them's an RF bundle, so I think you might even be able to choose whether or not you want like the RF bundle, which comes with like a Field Fox, that sexy Field Fox RF.
Oh yeah, that's
analyzer
a great
and stuff,
that's
and they're worth like 20-30 grand or something.
Yeah.
Like serious, like and plus you get like a power supply and a scope, and like you get practically a whole high-end lab.
Mm-hmm.
It's very cool. So. Awesome.
That's great. Yeah.
I don't know what they're giving me. I think they want to give me something.
They're giving you the boot, man.
That's fine. Don't need them.
Right.
Don't need anyone.
So thanks to Daniel, and we'll
YouTube keep giving
you
the boot.
Linked.
Oh,
I know, right? They keep demonetizing all that. Yeah. What's why?
Have you seen that? I keep a forum thread.
No.
Of all
I
my
demonetization. Sorry, buddy.
I'm sure you don't follow the forum thread of all my demonetization, but just to document it.
Sure, right.
Yeah, I just had another one this morning. I just tweeted it. So someone said that they were sick of me tweeting all the demonetization. It's like it's a big thing happening, and people want to know. So I'm just
I saw Cody has
it,
that same thing happening
basically.
too. So
yeah. Is his channel reinstated?
I don't know. I mostly see it through your stuff, so I don't really actually know.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it might have been because I think I saw a new video come up on his channel, so I assume it was remonetized. But yeah, like not only my primary channel but my secondary channel as well. It's like every second video now has been demonetized.
Maybe they actually started watching.
Right. But interestingly, a lot of people said like I had a video that was. That had, like, I hadn't actually released it yet. It had no keywords,
Oh, I did see
at
this.
all,
Yep.
and it had no title. The title was just 00012, which was the file name of the card, the file name from the memory card that I uploaded. So it had nothing to go by. The algorithm had nothing to go by except what I said in the video, basically, and it didn't have a custom thumbnail or anything. So everyone said, oh, and that was demonetized. And everyone said, oh, it must be the stupid speech converter bot. And then I actually looked at it. It's actually really,
Right.
So I looked, I downloaded what it actually translated my voice to, and it was actually pretty spot on this
Really?
time.
Even with the accent, huh?
It's even with the accent. So I think it's getting better. It was only a couple
Or
of minutes
worse,
video.
one of the two, you know?
Right, well, it's only like a minute-long video, but I think
it's
it got
devolving.
everything, word for word. So I was impressed. And there was nothing in there that I would
But
deem
what about in Spanish?
controversial. Right, okay. It's kind of, right, I
Hola.
called,
Mi nombre Dave.
what?
I don't know. I actually know Spanish, but
Right. Was that even Spanish?
no,
Was that-
Ola was. I
Klingon?
was trying to say like my name is Dave.
Oh,
yeah.
okay, right.
Right.
Yep.
Please don't
Anyway,
correct my
so
Spanish.
wasn't-
I don't care. I mean, I do care, but it's not. This is not the place.
And that was fascinating. So
Yeah,
a
yeah.
lot of people say I'm just I constantly complain about it. It's like meh, whatever, like no, I'm just documenting it, and because
A lot of people say I'm constantly complaining, and I say,
Well-
and another thing.
It's not complaining. Hey, that's a T-shirt.
Yeah,
I'm
right.
not complaining. I'm documenting.
Right. Yeah. There you
Or
go.
something along those lines.
Yep.
Anyway, so I'm just keeping track because I want to know, like in a year's time, how many of my videos were demonetized. So it's funny. So but I'm not losing for those who've asked, and many have asked. No, I don't think I'm losing money. Like some other channels have lost like 95% of their income or something. I've got so many videos that, like back catalogue, that get searched for and watched that it doesn't seem to impact me much, if at all. So
He's gonna be okay. Don't worry,
it's
folks.
all right. I'll survive.
Yeah. Right. Well, but also, buy a DMM if you really want to. If you want to support Dave. Yeah. How are the DMMs?
My new one you're talking about?
I mean, just the whole thing. How is the status?
Well, no, it's up in the air. Like we're just waiting. We're twiddling our thumbs at the moment. Well, not quite, because we're building a hardware test rig to test
cool.
the range switch. I posted this video on my second channel.
I saw that video.
Yeah. And we're improving that by adding a contact resistance data logger and stuff like that to it today.
So tell me about what that. So that's going through each stage of the test. Basically, it's like kind of switching to voltage, putting voltage on there, or what?
No. It's just we actually bodge in some wires on the back of the range switch contacts, and we have them coming out, and we measure the contact resistance.
Okay. So this isn't like an in situ, like a production test. This is just
no. This is just to test the longevity of the range switch,
Got it.
kicks.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So yeah. So
Okay.
we're doing that, and I left it running overnight for 50,000 cycles, and I was very surprised that it didn't
I'm sure
do
your
anything.
neighbors love you.
Yeah, well, it doesn't make
What is
much
that clicking?
noise.
What is that clicking? Yeah, no, that's.
Anyway,
I always like those kind of rigs too. Of like, I remember.
They're great fun.
Someone working at like an automotive one was like they were doing like I think it was like door closers or door locks and
And they just stand and the robot just opens and closes the door 1,000
they get it
times,
like in the millions. It's like really it's and it's just like the real world like interaction too. It's not like you can just automate it like with a relay board or something. You really need to do it like you're doing here. So
we used to do that all the time at companies I've worked for. You'd especially with connectors and stuff like that.
Yeah,
you'd wanna,
of course.
You'd want to make,
Insertions and
especially with
everything.
custom connectors. You design a custom connector. You want to design a rig that just inserts this thing.
did you
back
add
and
like
forth.
noise to it so that it also like changes
Noise?
the angles and stuff? Like insertion angles changes?
Insertion. No, we basically rely on the dickiness of the jig to kind of
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes
do that.
Right.
It depends how precise you want to machine and engineer the thing, and then you can add, and then you can add a precise known amount of noise, or you can just slam it together, bam, bam, bam,
Right.
and then which kind of simulates the way people would normally do it kind of thing.
Murphy takes care of you eventually, huh?
Right. Yeah. And that's kind of what we're doing with the range switch test here.
Good.
It's like, we're just like, it's very loosey goosey on there, so it's not like tight gripped on there, so it's not like really firm, precise turning. It's kind of a real loosey goosey thing that which kind of hopefully simulates people just turning it.
Yeah.
Because people don't turn it the same way every time. So
right.
Sometimes they're
A
frustrated.
lot of different
It's a piece of
forces.
shit.
Yeah, exactly. Right. It's at different angles, whatever. So, yep. Yeah, that makes sense.
Anyway.
Well, cool. Very cool.
Yeah. So we're working on that. But yeah, no, it's the Chinese New Year, of course. Is that over yet?
I don't think it started yet.
Oh, hasn't it started yet?
I mean, also, isn't your stuff made in Korea? Not for nothing.
But
I mean, the Olympics
South
are going
Korea,
on. Yeah,
but no, South Korea. But the company was doing the Chinese New Year thing too. So I'm not
really?
sure what the deal is.
You might as well just take it off. I guess if you can't get your supplier stuff in.
Right.
So I think it was like last week it started.
Right.
I'm sorry if I don't actually know.
Yeah, no, I haven't looked up the exact dates. But anyway, that impacts things, and So unfortunately, this stuff just takes time. It's like people think that we can fix this in a matter of days. No, it like weeks and weeks at minimum. And then it could take a month or more. And then like it's people expect updates every day. It's here's an update to tell you there's no update. We're still working on it. Like I don't really want to do that. So, yeah.
Cool.
We're just sort of waiting for some replies back there. They're meeting with the chipset supplier for a thing that we're looking at, and stuff just like takes time, unfortunately.
Yeah. I mean, like, no offense, but I doubt you're getting the attention of chip manufacturers either.
Yes, I am. I am personally corresponding with Hikon Tech, the chipset manufacturer. Of the HY3131 multimeter chipset, I'm going in, and they wrote custom documents for me too.
Look at this, moving up in the world. I was thinking more like the
awesome.
the ADIs of the world, but okay.
Oh no.
I mean, but still, that's good.
Yeah, no.
Was that the one that you were having trouble with though?
Oh, we're having issues with software. Potential issues, but this chip has so many registers and operational modes and internal switching muxes and if you go look at the data sheet for it, it's one complex beast. And if you don't drive it right. Then your software can completely screw things up. Or give subtle errors because you didn't use the right input mux path. And it came from somewhere else, and it kind of sort of worked, but it's not.
Right. Do you have that data sheet online somewhere, or do you have to just go?
Yeah, I can send you a link. The HY3131.
Okay.
Well, just.
I think I found it actually.
Yeah.
HY3131. It's just on Google. Okay. Yeah, I'll link that
version.
in too.
Yeah.
Yep.
And there's a data sheet, and there's also an application note that goes along with it, which lists all the internal muxing when you choose, a particular range. This is how you should arrange the internal muxes, but you don't have to. There's lots of customization. You can, There's got to be 50 internal muxes in this thing, that can switch anything anywhere.
Right.
That's how
of course,
it's
like a switch fabric almost, right?
Yeah, almost. Yeah.
That's
cool. It's great. Yeah, it's got
so
multiple
are you and David actually pinging these registers or no?
No, we're not.
Okay.
So yeah, and that's the problem here, right?
Maybe not. I don't know.
Well, no, no. The problem is why it's taking so long is because we don't have control on it. It's not like, somebody reports a bug. Right, Dave and I are working on it.
Oh, I see. Right, yes.
We can't
You're
really
at
do
the
a
mercy
thing.
of their response time.
And they've got
and priorities.
oodles of products to support.
Right.
And, like we're just,
Well,
down the
could you ask if you could start writing the firmware or no?
Oh, well, there's nothing stopping us. We could write our own firmware.
Yeah.
Right? But
there you go.
It's just writing our own app. They originally wrote an app. We've discussed this before, and then we decided, that app's pretty shit. We're just going to write our own from scratch.
Right.
And David thought it'd take, it'll take me a week. I can write our own app. Yeah, 2 months, then a couple of months, 2-3 months later. Yeah. No, it's and it's not even finished. It's just kind of
no,
it's
I know,
there.
I know
It's
how
a
it goes.
basic thing. Yeah, and I can't imagine if we went down the firmware route. If we went, okay, screw
well,
this.
It depends if you
really
had starting firmware though too, right? That makes a load of difference.
Yeah, but no, I wouldn't be doing it. David would be doing it, and he's looked at. We do have the firmware source code, and he's going, no, I would do it. I'd totally write it from scratch. It was, because it's not the way he would write it. There'd be more trouble in trying to maintain it. You know, he said, like, you know, it's
maybe you should ship him off to a real
ways.
company for a couple years, and you know,
right,
you can see how it really is. You know,
yeah, exactly.
I don't like how this big company is doing this thing. I'm going to do it myself.
Yep.
I think we have to have him back on here when I'm on here now.
And you know, and it's just it's totally different to how he would write the firmware. You know,
yeah,
and it's just like.
Right.
Yeah,
if you have that choice, it's a great choice to have.
Right.
That's true.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
But then again, let's say David wrote it, right? And then he leaves, right?
Sure,
and then somebody else
then
comes along and maintains it. They'd go the same thing. They go, oh, shit, I don't like the way this guy's written it. Geez, I can't understand a damn thing. I'm going to write it again from scratch my way. Or at least, you know, you'd use some of it. Like, you know, the LCD drive-in. But no, I think he'd probably end up rewriting the whole lot of it, just piss him off.
Okay. Well.
So, yeah, I mean...
You have a new question to ask in interviews.
Yeah.
How do you feel about other people's firmware?
Yep. No, and
he
tells stories about, you know, marking other people's... like marking people's software at uni and stuff like that, you know. And, yeah, it's like, fail. You didn't do the way I'd do it, fail.
Oh, man. Okay.
Well, not quite. I'm exaggerating, but...
Right, I get it. It's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone does it differently.
Yeah.
So.
Yes, definitely.
Yep.
All right. Well,
Anyway.
this looks like a cool little chipset, though. I mean, yeah, I'm looking at the gates and
that's
everything.
why you use these multimeter chipsets. It's got 3 built-in ADCs. It's got 20 zillion muxes.
Are these chips hard to source, like just from distribution, or?
I don't think you'd be able to buy that from a catalog distributor.
Okay.
That one. It's such a specialized chip.
Yeah.
It's only used in multimeters, and why would someone want a one-off? You know, you just don't. It's not.
Yeah, I'm just looking at it. Looks like the shady sites have it, and that's about it. HKinventory.com.
Right. Okay. Well, they claim they might have it.
Right.
But
They know a guy.
stock.
Yeah, they know a guy.
They know someone who's.
By the way, folks, that's a great way to just sanity check yourself. I mean,
Right.
You know, there's the Octoparts and the Fine Chips of the world, but you can also just type into Google part number, buy, and if you don't get 7 results right away,
yep, you're it.
yeah.
But sometimes you have no choice. Like if you're developing a multimeter like we were, we're not going to roll it from scratch. You use an off-the-shelf multimeter chipset.
Sure.
There's 3 or 4 on the market to choose from. You know,
right. And you've done enough teardowns and you've seen it all, and it makes a ton of sense. Especially in the price range you're in, right? I mean, like you're not going to change that radically.
Definitely. No,
so.
I mean, there's some higher end meters that roll their own, like the Keysight.
Yeah.
You know
well, any of the bench meters, they do like dual slope type stuff, right?
Yeah, they develop their own chipsets and stuff like that.
Right.
But for a low to mid range multimeter, you just wouldn't do that. It's just not
well, you
economical.
pay for better resistors, you pay for nicer analog switches, everything like that, right?
Yeah.
Lower leakage op amps, Specsmanship.
And it's done for, and the engineering's done for you mostly.
Yeah,
you know?
No, it's great.
But as I said, the firmware is complex.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Very complex to how to use these chipsets properly. That's why they have to go see them and talk about, issues and things like that. So.
Yep. Well, I am getting back into the firmware game right now. Dave. And it's scary
what
as
sort of
shit.
Firmware?
It's a little M0 chip. I am being assisted by coworkers, of course, but it's a little M0 chip.
This is not personally. This is at work.
No, this is for work. Yeah.
Right.
So got a little M0 chip though. Basically just twiddling with existing firmware, unlike some people.
Right.
Yeah, just trying new features and moving pins around, stuff like that. So nothing too fancy, but got some new hardware that I built, and getting that out in the world.
Cool.
Yeah.
Oh, did we mention on the last show we did about somebody reverse engineered the 121 GW firmware?
I don't think we did.
Oh, like I haven't released the source code, and we don't plan on. The company doesn't want us to release the source code, right, for various reasons. But somebody went, screw that. I'm gonna take the binary file, the actual, binary image file. I'm going to decompile that, reverse engineer it, and they've started their own custom EV block multimeter firmware thread. And he's basically reverse engineered almost every routine in the multimeter from the binary file.
Well, there you go. That's your starting point right there.
Unbelievable.
Well, why not? I mean, like,
I know it's you know.
yeah, I mean, you don't have a license agreement like with the your manufacturer to do that, but you can't stop them. So
No. In fact, we fully encourage it.
Yeah,
you know,
it's great.
if you want to review.
I mean, they know that they have the data sheet. Well, we're going to share the data sheet. It's an STM32, right? So there's nothing fancy there.
Yeah, it's
you don't hide the JTAG programming pins. I'm guessing, right? So none of that stuff.
No. They're just soldering a header if you want, and and the schematics.
And then if you compile down too, right? Once you have the compiled image, you just load it on the SD card, which is another thing. So bingo, bingo, bango, boingo. You're done, man. Yeah, that's great. Custom
unbelievable
hacketry. Yeah. Awesome.
And he was actually fixing bugs.
Well, there you go.
By recompiling this. And he didn't even have, the amazing thing is he didn't even have a multimeter.
Oh, that's weird.
He didn't even have one. And he went, right, I've decompiled it. I figured out how it works. I fixed a bug. Here it is. Gave a firmware image back. And we and others tried it. And we went, yeah, that works. Like,
great.
Oh, unbelievable.
Yeah. No,
like, that's some
that decompiling stuff is
top shelf level.
Is very cool.
Hacking skills. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Neat.
Unbelievable. Anyway.
That's great, man. You got a little army of nerds.
That's great. Yeah. It's, never count them out.
Right.
It's brilliant. You can't stop them. Sorry, I forget the user's name. I would have forum user's name. Mm-hmm. I would have credited them. What else is happening?
Well, I've been going to a lot of conferences. Just got back from those. Didn't talk about those last week, but went to FOSDEM. I don't know.
Is that the one that was on Twitter? The photo was on Twitter where the guy standing in the background, like giving you the funny. You know, I made a joke on Twitter of you. Somebody posted a photo of you on the stand with people talking to you. And there was this guy in the background with a look on his face.
That was the other one. Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I know you're talking about.
This Gabble guy's talking shit.
Right. I was showing hardware, and there was someone, caught with a funny face in the background.
That's great.
No, it wasn't that. No, FOSDEM is the Open Source Developers Conference in Europe, and that was in Brussels. And so that's like, Python developers are there, GNU Radio, KiCad,
right,
like all the Linux distributions, all that stuff. So this was a lot of software people, and it was great. Got to meet the whole KiCad team, and
how do they pronounce it?
They say KiCad.
There you go. They say KiCad.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm in good standing.
Oh yeah. No, I haven't fought that one for a long time, buddy.
Right.
You know my whole thing with it, right?
No.
People who say KiCad, usually I can tell that they've watched my videos once or twice.
Oh, okay. Got it.
At this point, it's it's just a way to tell to tell in the wild. I don't really care.
It's a bit of social engineering, huh?
Right. Yeah. Unintentional, but yes.
Right.
Yeah. So this the KiCad project is going swimmingly, and interesting stuff in 5. We shared. There's a video where Wayne, the project lead, was sharing what the stuff that's coming, and looks good. I'm not as enthused about they're putting like simulation in there, which is like
there's so many better. No, focus.
Focus. That seems like a bit of a distraction. But whatever.
Yeah.
It's effectively free, right? It's like it's implementing
of course.
a Spice engine in there. Obviously there's troubles with it, but with difficulties with it rather. But they're working on it. That's fine. But the big ones I think are in 5. They're changing some of the schematic stuff around, which I won't give the details because it's very specific to the package. But they're also like the Eagle imports is like really, really strong. So Wayne actually does a demo of importing an Eagle project without any issues. So
sweet.
It needs to be tested better, but the basically interoperability I think between all of these things is really good. So
nobody ever expects a perfect import. If
Exactly.
you do, you're an idiot.
Yeah,
right?
I think you're right.
You're just like you've got no. Come on, if you need to convert something, there's got to be some work involved.
Right, I agree. And if it's not work in the actual like redoing of something, it should definitely be in the verification that it's right.
Right, of course. Yeah.
So it's I think that's a good feature just because there's a lot of projects out there, and I think generally interoperability. There's no standard format anywhere, right?
Yep.
And it'd be nice if there was, but that's kind of a pipe dream. So in the absence of that, converters are great because, as you and I say all the time, it's not likely that you're going to convert someone, just being like, oh, you shouldn't use this. You should use this other package here.
Right.
So as we talked about with John last week, and the MCAT side of things, right? So, yeah. So yeah.
Speaking of CAD, there are some former Altium people now working on Eagle, which is very interesting. So
yeah.
Just because Altium gave everyone the boot,
Yeah, right.
So they got
Who else did they give the boot, Dave?
And speaking of which, David was using the latest. He downloaded the latest version of Altium, whatever it is, 18 or something.
Yeah, 18. Yep.
Crap, yeah. The other day, I haven't downloaded. I still got 17. And he downloaded it the other day, and he's working on the microcurrent, micro supply board and stuff, and he's just kicking and screaming and like all the bugs in it and stuff. He's just going, I can't do this. Like basic smart routing doesn't work. And they've broken stuff again. And they've changed all the menus apparently.
Yeah, you'll get people upset about that no matter what. I mean, it could be the best new UX UI thing in the world, and people will just be like, "You moved my button. Why'd you do that?"
I know. But he screamed about there's something. They took away the custom key shortcuts or something.
Got it.
So
Yep.
Jeez. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I think we've talked about it in the past. I think Eagle's getting a lot of great improvements too. So it'll be interesting to see what they all do. And I think you got to pay for it, but it's it's cheaper than Altium. I think the features features are catching up, and I think KiCad features are doing well too. So please don't tell me I should use a different. I don't care.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Yep.
Dave doesn't care. Nobody cares what you use or what you think you should use. This is just where we're at. So this is an announcement I have. I am actually I don't know how I'm going to do this. Maybe a forum or something. But I'm actually looking for people that are using KiCad in manufacturing. So actually making boards, actually manufacturing stuff. One reason is that I'm starting to actually do Neoden pick and place stuff personally, and then also just generally like how people use it, because I think I was talking to the team, and it's interesting being able to talk to them. It's interesting what they're focused on, and I don't want to necessarily try and influence it myself because I'm only one person, but if you could talk to a bunch of people about how are you using KiCad as or any package really, and in a true manufacturing sense. There's things that make it easier or harder, like,
Are you nudging towards having it support the hardware directly, having it support the pick and place machine directly?
No, I would never do that.
Okay.
Why?
Altium tried that.
No, I don't think that's a good idea, actually. I mean, like, I think having like a realistic way, like a flexible output format is good, right? So like XYRS is pretty standard, X position, Y position, rotation, and what's the S?
No, I don't.
I don't know what S is. Maybe side. That's what it is. So XY rotation and side, right? That's XYRS. And like if you can like change that and manipulate it, and like it's easy to use, that's all I really care about. Like everything else, because then on the side of the machine, there's always going to be integration pieces anyways. So it's like just make it a flexible format so that I can save my form, whatever the Neoden wants, I can then have that as an output, right? As like a specified output. So yeah. Definitely not like directly driving it. Like if you think that's the real thing, if you think there's no, like you said, if you think there's no work involved, you're it's a pipe dream, right? You just don't know that there's going to be work. So if you're doing manufacturing, I'd love to talk to you and just kind of get use cases and stuff like that. So I'll have a forum. Please let me know.
Cool. Why wouldn't you use the existing forum?
The KiCad forum?
Yeah.
Because if you ask a general group something, it's different than if you ask a targeted group something. Opinions are like something. Belly buttons.
Got one.
Everyone's got one, yeah.
All right.
Let's say belly buttons. Yeah.
Why?
It's just.
Is someone going to demonetize us?
It's less crude. But anyways, yeah. I don't want to do it there. So, just looking to chat with people.
Got it.
The picture you were talking about was at the Things conference. And yes. And that is a LoRa WAN conference that I went to in Amsterdam. And first off, have you been to Amsterdam?
No, I haven't.
it is a goddamn charming city. I mean, not
Sure
because of the pot or the prostitutes, but because of the
Right.
the canals and it's just a beautiful city. So and met a lot of great people there. But the conference was really interesting because, well, I mean, I had an interview a couple weeks ago was Richard, who works at TWTG, and they actually make a gateway for this Things network, and didn't know much about it, and he's the one who told me about the conference, and that's why I went out there, and it's just really interesting. But learned a lot more about LoRa and learned a lot more about LoRaWAN, and now I'm going to ask Dave what he knows about these things.
Nothing.
Nothing at all?
Not really.
Oh, okay. How about other 900 megahertz type radios? Actually, I don't even know in Australia.
No,
what is
I'm
the
just-
citizen band stuff, or not citizen band, but like the open bands there?
Could be, what's my wireless mics? I know that my wireless mic, a 400, a 460, 490, yeah, something like
so
that.
there's 430
I think we might have a 900 as well, but
Okay.
I do know that our wireless mics are an entirely different market to overseas ones.
Oh, interesting.
So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so 433. So like looking at these LoRa modules, I don't know the different. I don't use my ham license very well. So 433 is like one of the standard modules, and then 868 and 915, and
Right.
so those are some of the standard frequencies you can use throughout the world. Like all my stuff is 915, but in Europe it's 868. So like. I think there's a mode switch in there. Like it's close enough that like the oscillator you can switch it over or something. But
Right.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So it's interesting. It's an interesting protocol. Basically, it uses a chirp, which is like from basically it was inspired by radar, and so basically increasing frequency it's like a 0 and decreasing frequency it's a 1 or opposite that. But basically the idea is that it's it's going between these two frequencies. And people can go listen to this show with Richard too. That's probably a much better way to do it. And that's just the physical protocol, right?
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then the thing that I still didn't get when I went there is that all of that stuff is completely separate from what this conference cared about, right? So basically, they assume that the chips work. That's what's crazy
Right.
about it.
Okay. Got
Yeah.
it.
And then
Yep.
again, what Richard was explaining, that it still didn't sink in even after I was, after the show with him. But the idea is it's basically it's like an internet. It's like literally like an internet where they do peering between different networks even now. Like that's another thing they're going to be doing.
Cool.
So basically, so you have a sensor there in Australia, right? And that's changes to make it a little more realistic. I have a sensor here in Chicago, right? And it talks to a local tower. And basically, it goes back to a server, and then it goes to wherever it wants to go, right? Wherever it needs to go. It gets verified.
It talks to a local, 900 megahertz tower.
Like a gateway, yeah. So basically, individuals
Really?
make these gateways, yeah.
And who is who's operating these towers?
Basically, individuals. That's at least on this public network.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
right.
so the
Got
Things
it.
network is this public network. So there's only like
so you
three.
you can have your module, like you can stick it up on your roof, and it becomes a node. that
You'd want to
other
put a
people can
gateway up
use.
on the roof, like it's like a
Right.
router, effectively, right? So it's
Right.
basically think about like a Wi-Fi router, right? And
Yeah.
that's up on your roof, but it gets really long distance. That's what's crazy about it. So like if I had one up on my roof,
Yeah.
it could in theory cover a lot of Chicago.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so you don't need too many people to
Right,
join
exactly,
in. To,
exactly. Yep.
Ah.
Yeah, and so and the
Interesting.
idea is that like when it
Is it like a map? Is
there
there
is
like a
yeah.
glo-
So that's
a
the
global
Thing
map
Networks
thing?
map. Yeah, if you go to
Things network map.
yeah, and so yeah, and you can see in Chicago there's like three providers right now, and the idea is that like this one's public, right, and it's open and it's free, whatever. But now they're also like so the Things Network
Cool.
has like a for-profit arm as well, where they're going to start offering private services, whatever. I think that's
Right.
interesting.
Here we go. I'm just looking at Sydney now. I'm on the Things
Oh, okay.
network
Yeah.
map.
Yeah,
Okay, there's not one out near me. Wow, I could have my own node.
right. You could have your
Wow.
own gateway, basically. Yes.
Gateway. So how do I
So
get
like
a universal gateway to
So the
help?
one that the Things Network official one that Richard was working on too is sold by I think Farnell. So
Oh, really?
yeah, it's like $300. So maybe 400
okay.
Australian dollars.
Still, that's all right. I can do that, and makes a video.
Might be interesting.
And I like the idea of setting up a node.
Right. So the reason I say it's becoming more internet-like, and this is what's interesting about it, is that. So now, so I have mine. I have my node, which is it's just a little temperature sensor. Let's say is the node, right?
Yeah.
And it's saying the temperature's 5, whatever, right? It's going to a gateway that's here in Chicago, which then gets verified as being allowed on the network, and then it gets passed to the gate to the network and whatever, right? It goes to a server that displays it on a screen for me, right? Where I can access from the internet. The idea though is that the way they're making it more internet-like is that on the back end in the future stuff is they're going to start peering. And peering is basically what internet providers do. I don't really get the internet, but...
Yeah, no, I don't.
Right, they
get
actually...
the underlying infrastructure, yeah.
Right, exactly. The servers at these big server places, they peer, right? They actually pass networks, or they pass packets between them, and they actually have sometimes physical connections instead of going through these public gateways. And so, but they're going to start peering. So now I, with my node, travel to Australia, right? And I walk by your gateway that you set up.
Yeah.
And it goes there, and you verify that it's on this general network, right? It's verified as a Things Network packet, but it's local to Sydney. And so now you pass it back. You say, oh, well, this is from Chicago, and it passes it back to the server over the real internet infrastructure, and then it passes it back to the server, whatever. The idea being that if you had these networks now that are local, you could also start to peer them with other cities, other areas, whatever. And you can also do that with private networks. So they're going to start doing public-private peering as well, right? So now if the Things Network goes and sets up a new private network for you, and my packet hits it as say I'm driving across Iowa now, and there's some private farmer network out there.
Yeah, right.
That was set up by someone, right? And it's peered to a public network. Now, even if I hit that tower, effectively, it'll get peered back through the internet fabric back to my server.
So are there any security issues? Like
tons.
If I put this node in, right?
Yeah.
No, but like seriously, I don't want people to suddenly drive by and be able to access my machine or something.
Oh, I don't think it would be like that. Honestly, I think it would be like so the security stuff is like you have to verify. I don't get much of this stuff, to be honest, but you have to verify against.
I don't care if somebody can access my sensor or something. I don't really care about that, but I care about my actual machine security.
So this actually is a standalone device. So basically, you would just plug it into your router, and
Yeah, but the router is connected to my machine also, so technically they're,
Yeah, but this is also on a different frequency too, right? So it's not like Wi-Fi, right? So you would be so basically someone would have to to quote unquote hack it, right? And there were some security talks there too, which was interesting. To quote unquote hack it, right? You'd have to be transmitting via LoRa protocol, right? Via the LoRa PHY, which is like the increasing frequency, decreasing frequency, which is not a fast thing either, right? You can't really send that much data. Then you have to verify on the network as a false packet, right? That that it's allowed to be there, so it doesn't get thrown away. And then somehow it also have to direct itself through your network router and then bounce back out to a public IP on your network router to get to your computer. So I think it's pretty unlikely. So,
right. Okay. Cool.
I think.
All right. Well, I might have a play around with this and set up my own node.
Yeah, I think you should. And the interesting thing, so you can also do point to point, and that's what I've been playing with. But Andreas,
I might try and do point to point between my two, my office and my lab.
Yeah,
that
would be a great test, right? Yep.
Yeah.
And looking at it like on a spectrum analyzer, you could see the waterfall stuff too.
Yep.
I got my Hack RF working. I could talk about that too. And so, but what I would recommend is Andreas Spies. I think that's how you say his channel name. The Swiss guy. This is the Swiss guy on YouTube. He has a ton of videos about hardware on LoRa stuff, and this is really why it's interesting. Is because it's friggin' cheap. So I just bought 2 modules from China. So get this.
Well, the nodes are cheap, but the gateways aren't.
The gateways are not cheap, correct.
But is there one standard gateway? Like if I just buy a LoRa gateway, will it do the job, or are they different competing, architecture things or something?
If you buy, so here's the thing that people don't like about all this stuff is that it's all owned by Semtech. Semtech owns all the IP. A microchip makes some
Oh.
stuff too, and I think they're going to
Right,
be putting
yeah, I
some
can
more
see
stuff
the
out.
microchip stuff here.
Yeah. But Semtech owns all the IP. Someone
Wow,
does. Some people
okay.
don't like that. That's fine. I don't know what to tell you. Like that's how a lot of this stuff works. So okay. And yeah, and that's fine. You can take that however you want to, but now I've lost
Wow,
my train of thought.
$861 for a LoRa development kit from RS Components.
I would not do that.
Wow.
I'm trying to find this. God damn, where is this gateway? They're
Well,
actually.
I'm looking at a Dragino gateway, and it's $95
Okay.
Australian for the Internet of Things store.
Uh huh.
Is that what I need? Like,
No, I'm trying to find it here. Here it is. TTN GW868. Here we go. Let me send this to you over.
Well, why
our
can't I
chat.
buy this LoRa gateway?
I mean, you can, but why would you? So, like, this is the one specific that we were talking about on the show the other week, right? So,
Right.
just sent you this. So,
Yeah, but is this
250
one
pounds.
that I just sent you compatible?
They are, yes. So, well, Dragino, this says $95. Oh, you're trying to go cheap
$95?
on it? I think you said it was
Well,
800.
I don't know. I mean,
Oh. So like I don't know. Maybe this might work. But that's the thing. There's lots of software layers on top of this hardware layer, right? So this is a hardware layer,
Right.
and it's very unimportant. That's the thing that I'm getting out of all this stuff. The hardware stuff, once you get it plugged in and working, it's a software problem. So
Right.
that's what to know about the gateway. That's what I know about the gateways.
See, that's an EU only one.
Okay, there's other ones then. You'll have to look. I don't know what your frequencies are there. Okay, but back to this other thing. If you go watch Andreas Spiess's channel, and I'll link videos to it, he linked me to these two things. So it's, and this is interesting from the electronics perspective too. It has a LoRa chip on it, right? So it has the SX1270 or 8 or something like that. So the actual physical layer chip. It's got an ESP80 or ESP32. It's got a battery charger. It's got an antenna, and it's got an OLED screen. And it costs how much?
Tell us the price, son.
Come on, tell me. Guess how much
I
that
don't
costs.
know.
$15.
Oh, I was going to say 20. Yeah.
$15. That's
Yeah.
crazy, man. Like how? What is this industry we're in? So I don't have them yet. They're on the slow boat from China right now. But
So that allows you to attach interface stuff to.
I mean, that's an ESP. I mean, so the ESP32. So
Yeah.
we've had Jeroen on the show, right? Talking about the ESP32. That's a very capable chipset with lots of more hardware than you and I personally will ever need, right?
Right.
Interface to any sensor. Power side, who knows? But like, but then it's got this physical layer. So that now has LoRa, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, right? And all of the processing stuff and RTOS, whatever you want on there. $15 plus a screen, right?
Right.
That's nuts. And then this thing can basically hook into one of these gateways, and you have connectivity from very far away. Not saying it's reliable necessarily, but
Right.
That's what is crazy to me is like the people that are. It's just open. Like the people that I met there were just like. So I met these guys from Macedonia, right? So like near Serbia and Bosnia and whatever, right down that way in Eastern Europe. And they're like, yeah, we just we're setting up sensor networks throughout the country. I was like, what? They're like, yeah,
Cool.
it's just cheap, why not?
Why not?
Okay.
Just dump them in the middle of a bush and power them by solar cell and
I mean, yeah,
and a
that's
battery
that's what it's kind of getting to. So
Right.
like, it's very interesting. I don't know.
That's cool. Now, is this a way to get sensors and Internet of Things on the internet, but being lower power than, say, just going 3G,
Yeah.
GSM kind of stuff?
It's definitely lower power. Yeah. So no, the new 4G stuff is going to be much lower power, but I still don't think it'll be as low power as this.
Right. Okay.
So like,
Right.
So obviously, I should say I work for a cellular company. Okay.
Exactly. That's what I'm talking about, right?
Right,
You
right,
work
right.
for a company that sells
Yeah.
Internet of Things solutions that just connect to the internet,
Right,
From
right.
anywhere.
Right, and that is a
Right.
big difference, right? So like,
Yeah.
So this is like, if you wanted to get directly to a sensor, and you wanted a cell module on it, you could do that, right? It would just be
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
and it would just be there, right?
But this is cheaper. LoRa is a cheap way. If you've got hundreds of sensors, you don't want them all with a GSM gateway.
Right, exactly, right. So
Chewing
and
power, chewing cost, chewing connection.
Guess what I'm building right now, Dave? So I'm building a 4G to LoRa gateway, right? So that's one of the. I'm building a ton of hardware actually, which is kind of fun. I'm back into it, and it's really great. But yeah, so it's not going to be anything fancy on my end, right? It's going to be a 4G board that I've built attached to a Adafruit Feather, right? With the LoRa stuff on there, right? So it's going to have M0 running CircuitPython. It's going to have so all this stuff is out there, and that's one way to do it. There's also the PyCom. PyCom makes this thing called the PhyPi, which has five radios on it. So it has a LoRa chip. It can do Sigfox as well, which is kind of dying. It can do cellular, 3G, and then it can do Wi-Fi and Bluetooth.
All right.
And it's like €50 or something. So okay.
I'm going to get into it.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. I think that's why so many people are interested in it, because it's on the same level as like the ESP8266, where it's so damn cheap. People are just like, oh, and now it's low power as well. ESP is not that low power, right?
Right.
So now it's low power. You can put it out in the field, right? You could power it off a battery, solar, whatever. And you could send a bunch of these things back to a gateway you could write yourself if you wanted to. But that's also the difference, right? So like Dave, if you were going to have, say you had 50 sensors around your office park, right? Mm-hmm. And they're all going back to a gateway. You could make that gateway, right?
Right.
And you could write all that software. This basically, but then you would have to then control that whole software chain all the way back up, right? So basically, you'd have a gateway that would aggregate all the data coming from your 50 nodes, and then with Python, whatever, you could pass it up to a server, either through Wi-Fi or cellular, however you wanted to do that. And that's the kind of thing that I'm doing, right? What I was trying to figure out at this conference, and what it's doing already, is that there's all this software stack on top of it, so that now if your 50 nodes were actually on your 50 nodes on your car, and you were driving to Melbourne, right?
Yep.
And then you saw another, quote unquote tower, then it would be able to talk through that to this other network.
Yep.
And that's the big difference.
Got it.
As far as I can understand. So yeah.
I just found one near me in Sydney that uses this module I just sent you, but it's a
RAK.
It's a concentrator.
Yep.
It's a gateway concentrator.
Yeah, so these are all gateways, and this is what Richard was trying to get to too. And I do recommend people go and listen to that show with Richard. Like I said, it took me a while to figure it out, honestly. But they were using this thing there was a workshop at this conference where they were actually using this. So then you could put software on top of a Raspberry Pi, right? So this is showing basically a Raspberry Pi connected to this RAK831, which is the radio part of all this stuff. So the Raspberry Pi would actually have all the software and all that stack, and then it would talk through the headers. There's a conversion board to this header for the RAK 831. And that SX1301 is on this part that Link and Dave showed me. That actually is the chip from Semtech that is a gateway chip.
Right.
So you don't need to use that one, but that one can actually handle all the frequencies.
Well, how many if Semtech are the only ones who do it, don't they only have one gateway chip, or do they have?
No, they have a couple. Yeah, they have a couple versions.
But
it's different power levels.
Are they all but are they all compatible?
Yeah, that's the thing. So they all talk the LoRa, frequency hopping thingy.
So as long as you've got a LoRa WAN gateway, it should be compatible.
Right.
With.
And it's almost kind of weird too. It's like, so the physical layer, right? So like 900 megahertz is open band. What do they call ISM band? I think it's ISM. Industrial scientific measurement, whatever. I think it's ISM band stuff, right? So it's all ISM. But you can you can be on that spectrum, right? So like that's what lots of radios do. 802.15.4 is another one where basically that's a protocol, I think, that's over top of this, this actual physical layer, right? It's happening at this frequency of 900 megahertz or 915 or whatever your local one is. But then there's a protocol there to actually handle the packets and interface and whatever. LoRa is just another version of that protocol, I believe. And people have been trying to correct me, and I'm sure I'm still wrong. But that's as far as I understand it. And I think Sigfox is another one that's also in that band, and it's just another version of that. The difference being that where the money is different. Like, so Sigfox, all of the quote-unquote towers are paid for by Sigfox. You have to pay a fee to get onto those. So, Whew. IoT,
Okay,
huh?
interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, I might set up a node. Anyway.
Yeah. It's
Cool.
it's interesting.
All
It's it's low power. You still need to know. It's not like, okay, if people are worried right now, they're like, oh, they're gonna figure out RF. I'm not gonna figure out all this stuff. Usually, a lot of these pieces you don't have to care about. Like
Yeah, of course. No.
like it's just it's like
You
basically
buy a solution.
right. You buy a solution, you buy a module, you plop it down, you have a library. Like that stuff. A lot of the things that I'm doing are still like the analog interface into this thing. And power management is still a huge thing, right? Being able to manage battery stuff and solar stuff now too, and energy harvesting. So, yeah,
Right.
there's a lot of stuff out there.
All right. What else have we got this week?
Oh, I was gonna actually go back on something I've said.
What?
So I've been around. So now I'm in this world of like all these software people doing Raspberry Pi stuff. I've seen tons of Raspberry Pis.
Yep.
And one thing I've been realizing, I've been watching Mick Makes, that YouTube channel. He's an Aussie who does roundups of like new boards and all this stuff. I really like it, actually. I recommend subscribing. So single board computers, though, all of them put the Raspberry Pi header on there. So I think I'm going to go back on what I've said in the past, and I think that's becoming a more standardized interface.
Right.
And it's not as big a deal as I thought it was going to be.
Just from an I/O point of view.
Right, exactly. Now you have to be careful that like if you are basing it on Raspbian and that's not compiled for like some Orange Pi or Banana Pi or whatever the hell board you decide to buy, you're gonna have to write new software for that stuff. But that's kind of becoming that 40-pin header is kind of becoming a standard interface,
right? Yep.
Which was unexpected to me, and so that kind of goes back on what I've said. Is like, I still maintain you shouldn't say I'm designing with a Raspberry Pi, but if you have a Raspberry Pi, you're not as up a creek as you might be otherwise, right?
Got it.
Yeah, it's closer to a PC 104 like you've said in the past, right?
Yes, okay. Yeah. Except it's kind of a de facto standard.
Yeah,
rather
exactly.
Than
it's not a standard,
industry
but
defined. It's
yeah,
not
exactly.
There's no working group,
right?
Of companies working on it.
Right. And it's like an Arduino header as well, right? You still see that pin spacing thing, whatever. And there is a new entrant into the market now. I think the Adafruit Feather is becoming a new quasi-standard, right? No? You're not gonna take the bait?
Sorry.
Come on, man. You didn't even see the news. All right. So anyways, Particle announced that they have a new set of boards coming out, the Particle Mesh, and that is based on the Adafruit Feather layout.
Okay.
So I think that's a great idea. It's got
and that's just a dual inline header.
It's dual inline, but it's standard with a battery charger on it too, right? So it's basically saying all of your products in this form factor are probably going to need a LiPo, right? And that is really smart. And it's great for doing mobile projects, and then you can, so then your power source is basically the same thing where maybe you put solar in there instead, and then you go.
So Feather is the form factor.
Yes.
And they've got. I'm looking at they've got they've got a LoRa radio. They've got a Arduino one. They've got an ESP32 one.
Yep.
They've got an M0. Just an M0 one.
Yeah, data logger as well. Right.
Yep.
And so that's what Lamora and the team have been doing for a couple of years now, I think. Is this form factor? It's got a great set of breakouts too. It's got all the digital and analog.
No, there's a huge number.
SPI, I2C, whatever.
Huge number of boards.
Particle basically said, we're going to do that too. And then they kind of hop into the ecosystem. You get all the display boards. You get all that stuff. So it's good thinking, So
cool.
Yeah. And Particle just announced that they're using the NRF 52 chip, which is a new Bluetooth 5 chip. So this is becoming the IoT hour. I'm sorry about that. I promise it won't be every week, folks. But so they're going to be meshing with Bluetooth. So I didn't realize that Bluetooth actually has a meshing capability. There's a spec. This is, again, like different layers of software, right? So there's like Bluetooth uses 2.4, I I think.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, okay. And then there's the protocol on top of it, and then above. And then, like, if Alicia's listening right now, she's cringing. And then there's further software on top of that, but basically the meshing now that they're doing, that Particle's doing, is based on open thread, I think.
Right.
And so that's another layer above that then, right? So it's Bluetooth, but then they're implementing this thread thing to basically mesh, so that now when you have 10 Bluetooth devices in a room, they all kind of forward packets to one another. They enumerate themselves, all that fun software stuff that they like doing,
Right.
So
Cool.
yeah.
All right. That's the Internet of Things hour.
That's right.
Thanks for joining.
I mean,
all right. Let's
okay.
get
So
on
we
to
got
other
to the
stuff.
hype curve, right? I mean, like, I think we're on the other side of it. Maybe not. Obviously, I work at one, so I see it a lot more. But it's damn cheap these days, man. I mean, like, it's really cheap.
You're still going.
I know. All right, sorry.
Next thing you know, we'll be talking about IOTA.
IOTA. Oh God, the
IOTA.
blockchain thingy.
The blockchain Internet of Things.
Yeah, there was an article about that. We didn't actually have that, but it's not allowed for IoT apparently.
What do you mean it's not allowed for IoT?
There was some article I saw about that where it says if you use it for it, you're null and void.
You're null and void by who?
I don't know. I don't know how any of this stuff works,
The whole
Dave.
idea of IOTA is that it's it's the solution for the Internet of Things, and it uses the Tangle instead. Actually, it's not a blockchain.
Oh God.
IOTA uses the Tangle.
The Tangle.
It's the Tangle. It's different to blockchain.
Right.
Anyway, I won't get into it.
Are you
yep.
getting into it?
I'm kind of into IOTA a little bit. Yeah.
Oh.
Anyway,
another one bites the dust. Man, that stuff. I can't handle anyone talk. I mean, like all that blockchain stuff.
Anyway,
yeah.
no, it's very it's not practical at the moment. It's like it's just yet another altcoin, basically. Yeah, but it's
Dave's looking for investment opportunities. Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, no, it's got issues. It's got practical implementation issues.
Right.
Yep.
Yep.
So,
all right, back to our list.
Anyway,
right.
Huge news.
Huge?
Fellow blogger Ben
yeah.
Heck is. Have we had him on the?
No, not yet. We should catch him before he leaves. Yeah.
Haven't had him on. Jeez. Yeah, he's Gonski.
In June. Yeah.
Well, in June is okay. How many more? Yeah, right. Anyway, he has announced that he's done.
He's retiring.
Done with the Ben Heck,
I didn't realize it's almost been 10 years. Like it's crazy. He's been doing it a long time. So
yeah,
tons of videos, tons of stuff out there, tons of hacks. Yeah. So yeah.
I don't blame him because it's a phenomenally high pressure job to produce content on a regular basis. Especially builds and things like that.
You're right, exactly. And they talked about that in the video that they switched. I didn't actually realize this year they switched to just doing 3 builds in the season, as they say.
Yes, in the season or whatever. Yeah,
which is
that's
smart.
They'll make other videos. Yeah.
But yeah,
definitely.
I think that
why put extra pressure on yourself?
I'm sure that some of our listeners here have got into the hardware space because of Ben and his team, and they do really good stuff. So. And they're looking for a new Ben now as well.
They are looking for a new Ben Heck. They've just announced.
Yes,
which I didn't. I suspected they might.
Maybe Dave can be the new Ben.
No thanks. They approached me way back when they approached Ben.
Right. Yeah.
and I said no.
But yeah. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what he does next too, because he's hacker extraordinaire in the Midwest, might I add. Woot,
I think he's going to work on. I think he mentioned in the video he's just going to work on some
stuff.
films and other stuff, just some hobby stuff or something like that. But yeah.
People like him are not gonna. They aren't left for wanting a job long. If they want one, they could find one. So
right.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Good luck to Ben and good luck to whoever.
Yeah, tries to fill those shoes.
Wants to now suck on the corporate teat of Element 14.
Well, it's. I think Ben outlasted Element 14, right? They're owned by Avnet now. Yeah.
Yep. It's because they've got Yeah, they'd keep going because they've got to fulfill their key performance indicator for social media. You know, they've got to tick that box every month. How many views did we get? And they've got to report that up the chain to you know. So they've got a huge budget. For this sort of stuff. And yeah. Like for those,
I mean,
who think
to
it's
their
just
benefit,
Ben,
they're sponsoring stuff. That's a good thing. So
of course, if you want to do that, if you want to make a full-time job out of that, by all means, go for it. Yeah,
right.
Just be aware that you are. Yes, you're not working for yourself. You know, it's not like they're just going to give you money and you can do anything you like. It's you know, they'll be driving the thing. So
Yep.
But they are looking, and I think it's the only valid way to do it. They are looking for people to produce an actual, not an episode, but a video.
Yeah, it's like a tryout video
of them
almost.
building. Yeah. You've got two. They'll send you a kit.
Yep.
So you send in your proposal or whatever, and then if they choose you, they'll send you a kit. So I don't know, they might give them to 20 different people or something, and then you've got 2 weeks to build and shoot a video.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like a trial by fire, and that's the only way to do it. You know, that's the only way to find someone who's suitable for something like this.
Yep.
And out of those 20, you'll probably only get one that's like really suitable.
Yeah.
If you're lucky. Like I doubt that people might think that they can do this kind of stuff, but to tick all the right boxes is hard.
Yeah. Right. You got to be personal on camera. You got to learn production stuff.
You got to be personal on camera.
I think they're going to have more production
stuff,
though, more production staff than someone starting out by themselves, right?
Oh no, yeah, of course, but
But I think that there is that whole like we've talked about in the past too of like that kind of authenticity. Like no offense, Dave, you don't have the best production values. Obviously, you have good camera skills and everything, but it's the realness also makes it real, right? That's what people like about it.
That's my style. I don't put huge production. I put just enough to make a polished video.
Exactly, and I think that's actually the right way to do it. Whereas that is the downside to having like a production staff is like, oh well, we have to get this right and that right and that So
and it's got to be the same look and feel every time. Whereas my videos aren't the same look and feel every time.
Right.
There's always subtle or even major differences.
Yep. Yep.
So, yep.
Yeah, definitely. Cool. Well,
anyway.
Good luck to everyone. Yeah.
Whoever, wants to take over that mantle.
Yeah.
So, awesome.
Okay, so let's talk about other news items. We didn't actually catch this one, but it was kind of in the news a little bit. The rocket thing.
The rocket thing. Yeah.
What? Are you gonna really? You're gonna downplay it? You're like, oh, whatever. I'm so over space.
I missed the launch. I missed the launch. No,
really?
It's pretty cool.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah. No, I just didn't know. I knew it was coming up, but I don't know why. I was busy or whatever, and I didn't actually. Yeah, so like an hour later, people are tweeting all this shit, and I went, "Oh, there's a car in orbit." Oh,
yeah, that's great.
Yeah, that's cool.
Just another day. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, we should. So to make it relevant to this show, we should share the. It was on Instagram. Yep. Elon Musk shared the circuit board where it says.
Was that done by Vincent?
I don't know who did it.
Because he's the head PCB designer at Tesla.
Well, that'd be a good question to ask, yeah. So it says made on Earth by humans, though. So
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah.
Classic.
Great. Anyway, there's a car going out to a long heliocentric orbit.
Yeah.
Past Mars, like, wood.
Yeah, man. Hanging out the belt.
It'll be there for 1 million years.
Was it the Kuiper belt out there?
No, the Kuiper. No, it's not the Kuiper belt. No, the Kuiper belt's beyond Pluto.
Oh. So this is just like an asteroid belt in the middle there?
Yep.
Yeah.
yeah, it's going out near the asteroid belt or something.
Got it.
So, yep.
The Kuiper belt. Sorry, Kuiper
belt.
Right.
Yes.
I said that
Kuiper
wrong.
belt.
The Kuiper belt. That's the one that we talked to Richard about when we were in Canberra, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Cool. Okay. Yeah, well, either way, that's freaking awesome. And I mean, really, the car was cool, but I mean, that synchronized landing was like...
Yeah, the synchronized landing
that was like electric
cool.
sex. I mean, come on, man. That was just like...
have you seen the interviews where he seriously did not expect it to work?
Yeah, well, that's great.
He seriously did. Like, he thought odds are the rocket's just going to blow up.
Yeah.
Because people think it's just a Falcon 9, two Falcon 9 strapped together on a central, bigger Falcon 9. No, they redesigned the whole blink and lot almost.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, oh yeah. No, it's... Right. There's a talk, I think, where he goes through and what stuff was changed. It was almost everything.
Right.
It was absolutely remarkable about what they changed.
I would like to take a second. So as much coverage as there was about Elon Musk, obviously he's the figurehead. Let's give a little shout out to all the engineers that were there too. I mean, obviously
the engineers that made it happen.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like that's what people. I mean, obviously the mainstream media won't get it, right? They're not going to be like, oh well, there's hundreds and thousands of people that are making this stuff happen, but like some of them might be listening to this, and you guys friggin' rock. So
you want to know who it's probably down to these days? As much as I don't want to take away from the hardware engineers, of course, but the software engineers, apparently, from what I'm hearing, is that the simulation software is so good at SpaceX now that it's at the Boeing level where they can design an entire plane, like an entire 747 level, an Airbus A380 or whatever, on paper, and it simply rolls off the production line and flies perfectly as it was simulated. Right? What? What?
Well, we tweaked the spec over here, and presto.
I'm sorry, what was so funny?
I mean, come on, Dave. I mean, yes, I agree. The simulation is great, but like it just rolls off the line and it works.
No, come on, but you know what I mean. It's like
yes,
the odds of it working first go is now so high that it's actually not surprising that this one worked first go.
All right,
that's what I'm talking about.
I have no gauge. I have no gauge on that, honestly.
Okay.
So, if you say it, Dave, you know what? I'm going to believe you.
Fine. Good.
Dave Jones knows software engineers.
No, it's just that, come on. Look, you must know the industry, and the technology that's what they do. Like, planes fly first go these days. Like, you don't see a new
you're right.
high-end plane crash, right?
That is correct. And it is based on many years of crashes, though, as well, right?
Yes, and same with rocketry and everything else. They've been refining them for like 60 years or whatever, and now they can, it's Elon was a bit pessimistic there. I think that everything's gotten so good that they can, as he said,
the middle one blew up,
like
Dave.
the simulation.
The middle one blew up.
The middle one didn't land properly. Yeah. It didn't blow up. It ran out of
it hit the deck at 300 miles per hour, Dave.
Yep.
It blew up.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. I get what you're saying, and yes, that. Yeah. The level of software integration is...
Yes, the level of software...
is crazy.
Simulation is getting so good and so amazing.
Kerbal,
this kind
man.
of stuff... it's way beyond Kerbal.
I know.
Right? It's... they can simulate almost every mechanical aspect of this thing, and it's just remarkable.
Yeah.
So I'd love to see an insight into that. Into the simulation stuff that they've got there.
Yeah.
So
good luck.
Well,
Sorry, kids. I signed away your lives. I wanted to see the simulation.
Yep.
Yes, no, I am missing an arm and a leg as well.
and that may be the key to their future success.
Your kids?
Is this? No, they're SpaceX's future success.
Oh, sure.
Right?
I mean, yeah.
It's not just the engineering, it's the software simulation as well.
Sure did.
Of almost every aspect of the design.
Yeah.
So, anyway, I just think that's very cool.
It is very cool. Anything else on our list we should be covering? Anything you got coming up? Are you going to do that meetup?
Oh, yeah, eventually. I'm just like...
No, I mean the one with John. You going to John's? You're going to at least get out of the house, man? Come on.
John's?
John Saunders. We had him on the show last week.
That's in,
it's in
whenever
March,
it is.
March 9th, I think.
I might even have it already in my schedule. I don't know. Something like
Antisocial nerd.
I know. I'm just like, I got a lot of shit happening at the moment.
Oh, got a lot of shit happening. Right.
Yep.
You literally can go and just get free content there, man. You just show up, you bring a camera, you're like, hey, I'm Dave. And everyone's like, I'd love to talk to you, Dave. And you're like, oh, cool.
Yep.
Like, hey, there's a video.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. I'll do my best.
He'll do his best. There you go. There's other good links on the show this week. Don't forget.
You do remember that I completely forgot today's show. I didn't even know what day it was.
I did know that, yes. Yeah, that's true.
You know, I was like 4 hours after we were supposed to start recording, you messaged me or something and said, hey, you know, what's going on?
I'm a very flexible person. I would like to talk to my old friend about, electronics and whatever and whatnot.
Yeah, because I simply forgot what day it was. You know, I don't keep track of what day.
He's just in it too deep, folks. He's in it too deep, opening his mail.
Oh, boy. Anyway, all right, I'm done. I got to get back to work.
Okay. If people, don't forget, if you want to win that scope, we'll have a survey in the show notes. Don't forget to do that.
Cool bananas.
Yes. Cool.
All right.
See ya.
Catch you next time.